College basketball heat check. We are back for season 2. Got a special exclusive interview for one of the hottest programs and coaches in the country, FIU. We had Coach Jeremy Ballard, comes from the Shaka Smart Tree. We'll let Eli talk a little bit about this program, and then we'll bring Coach in.
Yeah, it's been a good start for FIU. 8-2. They had 2 really close losses. Could very easily be 10-0 to this point. It's a testament to what Coach Ballard and his program have accomplished this season in the bounce back year. And it's a wide open Conference USA this season. So this thing could go a variety of different ways. So FIU could definitely be one of the factors in this league. And we're pleased to have Coach Ballard join us this morning.
Yes, we are. Coach, good morning. How you doing?
Morning, fellas. Appreciate you having me on, Eli and Brian. This is truly an honor. I'm grateful to be here. Grateful for everything that you all do for our college game. It's really remarkable, and all of the coaches and players really appreciate it across the nation. So, having the opportunity to be on here, man, it's really a pleasure, and I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, we appreciate it greatly, man. Appreciate the support. Appreciate the kind words. I got to coach against you firsthand. I don't even know if you remember that. I was at UTEP. I think that was your first year. Was that your first year?
My first year, and luckily you're not there anymore because we didn't win. We didn't win when we played you, so we weren't able to ever get a win over UTEP until you left. So that was the key to our success.
Maybe that means there's something good. So we're glad to have you on today, Coach, and just so much respect for the job you've done there. I think it's kind of flown under the radar a lot. The 20-win seasons, the success. Last year is an asterisk year for everybody. Either it was great or it was terrible because of the COVID and all the different changes. The part I want to salute you to start the show is just the bounce back. I think that says a lot about the leadership, the character, the vision, and the execution by you as a leader, the head coach, to have, I believe, the best start in program history. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Best start in program history. Have done it after having a challenging year last year with COVID, which a lot of people did. And just want to ask you about what has that ride been like for you? And then secondly, there's a part I want to add in there. At one of your press conferences recently, you had the entire staff up there, which I thought was a powerful moment, that you didn't just have it just me, I'm answering questions, and you made not only a point to say this is all of us, but you also gave those guys opportunity to answer questions, which I thought was really dope. It doesn't happen very often. Salute to you on that. So I know I threw a lot at you, but feel free to jump in on any of those.
Yeah, well, I'll take the last part first. I honestly feel somewhat guilty even being here by myself. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my staff, and those guys are incredible. They say, you need to hire people that are smarter and better than you. And let me tell you, they are smarter and better than me in every facet of life. So they really carry me, and they really carry our program. They're the backbone of our program. And, I'm fortunate enough, I'm deemed as the head coach of FIU, but, I have 5 guys on my staff that are all head coaches, and all will be far greater head coaches than I could ever be. So I'm just, incredibly grateful to them. Not only are they unbelievable coaches, but they're friends and brothers to me. So anytime I can do that, I feel like in this business, the assistant coaches can get lost in the shuffle, and their importance can never be overstated. And in fact, it's almost always understated. So just grateful to have them. And, as it pertains to the first part of your question, we would not have had any of the success if it wasn't for them and how vital they are to our program and culture building. Yeah. And, but before we got to FIU in the 18 seasons prior to us being here, 17 of them were losing seasons. Yeah. There was not, they just weren't accustomed to winning here. So, we really came in here with a vision in mind. And the most credit goes to the players, obviously. They bought into the vision that we had of how we wanted to do things. I think they were hungry to do things differently. They were hungry to win. And, we've been able to do that, at a decent level so far. And, And, as you said, last year was a hard year for everyone. So, no one's trying to hear FIU's sob story on their COVID year, but it was certainly a rough year. We were decimated by injuries and by the coronavirus. But we learned a lot from that year. We learned a lot about our personnel. We learned a lot about our culture. We learned a lot about what we needed to do to be successful, learned a lot about what we needed to get back to be successful. We learned a lot about what we needed to change to be successful. We brought in 8 new players. And one of the things, from our very first meeting this summer, we said that we're gonna do things this year that FIU has never done before. If we can commit to each other, if we're willing to sacrifice, if we're willing to be connected, and we've done that. We went 3-0 in MTE, the first time FIU's ever done that. Best start in school history. But make no mistake about it, what's important to us is having the best ending in school history.
Yeah. I want to take a step back real quick to your tree. You work for Coach Smart. Did you guys have a thing during the pandemic where both you guys were growing out your hair, or was it? What was that?
You know what's hilarious is I got that all the time, especially from referees that obviously know me from being on Coach Smart's staff, and they'd be like, what you and Coach Smart make a pact to grow your hair together, and obviously he's infinitely more well known than I am, and also infinitely more well known for having a short haircut. So we both grew it out. He's had a lot more success with his long hair. He looks better with his long hair than I do too. But it's been a pandemic thing, and it's not something that I planned on sticking to. It's literally just like, hey, I wasn't trying to get in a barber chair with this virus raging.
Right.
And I always said, until I get, I'm not getting a haircut until I get vaccinated. And now 2 vaccination shots and a booster shot later, I'm still haven't gotten my haircut. So I'm enjoying avoiding the barber chair for now.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun thing. I think it almost shows like a part for your team. Like, I don't know, just a part where like, all right, coach, we see you. We see you not having to like be all the way, like let another side of you out, I guess I would say. I think that players probably appreciate that.
Well, it means absolutely nothing, but I think last year I might have been the first Division I coach in history to coach in braids. So that's something too. And we're undefeated when I coached in braids. So I probably need to go back to it.
For the culture, I love it. I'm gonna let Eli get a few, and I'll come back in a little bit.
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned the losing season before you stepped on campus as FIU's head coach, and you talked about building the staff, and obviously one of those assistants is Joey Rodriguez, who you know him dating back to your days at VCU, and him going immediately from being an impactful player to now in a coaching staff and working alongside you. I guess, like, how does this all come together to take over a program that had, I guess, call it what is a lack of success before you stepped on, and you immediately came in with your staff and won 20 games, and now things are starting to take off? What were some of the pillars and things that you wanted to establish when you took over the program, and how has all that come to be so far for you?
Well, all of our assistant coaches, Jesse Bob, Joey Rodriguez, Xavier Anderson, we all worked at VCU together. Joey was obviously one of the greatest players in VCU history and led them to the remarkable Final Four in 2011. But he coached there as well. And I coached at VCU with all of those guys. So, VCU has been incredibly impactful on how we do things here at FIU. Certainly there's a lot of things we brought schematic wise, a lot of things we brought culturally to FIU. And, so we, of course, any program that's, not a Power 5 program, and many Power 5 programs would want to try to emulate the success that VCU has had. And, so to bring guys like that, Coach Bob, Coach Rodriguez, Coach Anderson, who really understand what goes into winning at a high level, has been instrumental to our success here.
And one of those guys that's been extremely impactful for your team this season is Denver Jones, and he's really come on as a freshman and didn't have many high major looks and has already proven to be an extremely high-level player. I'd love to know a little bit more about him, what he brings to this team, and what recruiting him and bringing him to FIU looked like.
Yeah, well, Denver Jones is really the prototype of a young man that you'd want to recruit to any program. He comes from a great family. He has high character. He has an incredibly high work ethic. He's very coachable. He's tough. He's got great feel. He's got great skill. And so, from day one, he has come here. He has been serious about the game, serious about getting better, and serious about helping FIU be a successful team. And, he comes off the bench for us, but, he is, for all intents and purposes, a starter. He plays starter minutes, certainly has starter usage. And so we're very proud of him, and he's just getting started. He just was recognized as Conference USA newcomer of the week this past week, and we're incredibly proud of that. But the best is yet to come for him.
One of the main, at least statistical differences in last year's team to this year's team is on the defensive side. And last year's team ranked 304th in defensive efficiency. This year's team is all the way up to 162nd, which would be your best mark as FIU's head coach and as a staff, obviously. Has there been schematic changes? Has there been more buy-in? How do you jump 150 spots nationally in adjusted defensive efficiency over the course of a season? What goes into that, and what have you seen out of your team in that regard?
Well, again, last year was such a powerful year in so many ways. It was really an eye-opening experience. Made us analyze things that we were doing. Stuff not having a summer with your team. And really having to put things in on the fly as you go, with people going in and out of quarantine. And so we just studied what we've done, who we are, our personnel, and what we thought would be best. We've been known for, the 3 years prior to this season, being a pressure team. We've in my first year, I believe we led the nation in tempo. We played at the fastest tempo in the country. We've led the nation in steals. We led the nation in turnovers forced. We led the nation in turnover margin. We led the nation in blocks. So we've really gone about trying to be a disruptive team in everything that we did. And this offseason, we really put a heavy emphasis on our execution in the half court, both defensively and offensively. And we spent a lot of time, with our defensive positioning. We've switched more than any team in the country. In the 3 years prior to this. Our first 2 years to a lot of success. Last year, obviously not. And so we, with some of the personnel we brought in, we start to experience big guys. Seth Pinckney, who's 7'1", a transfer from Quinnipiac, and Cleavon Brown, who's about 6'9", fifth year guy from a grad transfer from Vanderbilt. And so with that size and with their experience, we switched our primary ball screen coverage to icing. And, that's allowed us to keep size on size a little bit better. And it's a credit to our young men that they've just been committed on the defensive end. And I think our effective field goal percentage defense is top 50 in the country. Our 3-point field goal defense is like top 25 in the country. And it's something that we certainly take pride in. And it goes to their competitive nature. Man, you come to one of our practices, you see these guys get after it. And they take no prisoners, and they set the tone each and every day in practice. And defense travels, we want to be a great defensive team, and we really wanted to be able to get stops, other than just forcing turnovers in the backcourt. And so we really haven't pressed. We still press. We haven't trapped nearly as much, but we've certainly tried to sit down on the half court and string together stops.
Coach, talk a little bit about adjusting as a head coach, right? Like, people from the outside, and I've obviously sat in a coaching seat as an assistant in Division I at a high level, but haven't sat in that first seat. And sometimes people that are fans or followers of the game, or even other coaches that are assistants, think like it's easier to sit in that seat. So first of all, we know it's not easy, but talk about like your ability to be able to adjust to a different style of maybe how you guard ball screens, or how you're doing things as far as not trying to get maybe as much emphasis on turnovers in the backcourt. And what is that process like for you as a head coach? We know you have a great staff. I'm sure they're probably involved. What is that like? Because I'm sure there's a part of you that's like, well, I don't want to fail at doing this. And we know this works, but I'm sure there's a part of you too that's got to get out of your comfort zone and go to a next step if you want to. So talk about that if you don't mind.
Yeah, so I'll take, if you don't mind, I'll take a long route in answering that question. I think in taking any job, before you take that job, you have to see the path forward for success with that job. And despite the fact that 17 of the previous 18 seasons had been losing seasons here at FIU, I saw a path forward here. And I thought that path forward early on was for us to be as different and as unique as possible. So we wanted to make the game a track meet. We wanted to play as fast as we could offensively. We wanted to be as disruptive as we could defensively. We pressed on every possession. We trapped on every possession. We switched every screen on and off the ball. And so, for excuse my French, we were a pain in the butt to go against. And, that helped us get 20 wins. It helped us have the best Conference USA finish FIU had ever had. It helped us have FIU's first postseason win in school history. Our second year, we had an even better team. And we were more solid. We still employed the same aggressive pressing and trapping scheme. We still employed the same switching both on and off the ball scheme. And that was the best team we had. And then last year, we didn't have the same personnel. We didn't have the same consistency and approach. And, so you mentioned it, and the answer was in your question, Brian. It's a credit to our staff, that we were able to all sit together and think about what's best for us. We're all basketball junkies. I mean, we watch, and it's one thing about me, I am always watching ball. It doesn't matter. I have a lot of great friends in the business. I watch all of their games. I watch EuroLeague games. I watch G League games. I watch women's college basketball games. So we're always constantly trying to learn and pick up things. And so we just really want to analyze what's best for us, what's going to give us the best chance for success. What's worked for us in the past? What do we feel is going to work for us in the future? So, I'm not afraid to change, and nor is my staff. My staff isn't afraid to, give me their opinion. That they know that I'm convicted in my opinions and beliefs. I think very hard about the things that we do. So they do as well. And they come with me with their convictions, and we hash things out. And so we're certainly not afraid to change. And one thing that's been great is we've had a lot of staff continuity. So, 4 of my assistant coaches have been here from the beginning. I talked about Joey Rodriguez, Jesse Bopp, and Xavier Anderson, but Mike Oliva, our director of operations, is a warrior. He was here for 2 previous staffs. So he brings so much stability, a calming influence. He gives me his opinions in his own way that I dearly trust. And then we hired Colin Campbell, who was a GA for us last year, as a video coordinator. So we've had great staff continuity. David Cason, who was my big brother in this business, and is past due to be a head coach, is now a coach at Oklahoma State, and he was here with us for the first 3 years. So that staff continuity allowed us to be super connected, build trust with each other, to really understand the program, really understand the conference, and be able to make decisions, some drastic changes in decisions that we thought might be better for us to be successful moving forward.
Yeah, super invested, which is obviously really important too. You know what I mean? Everybody's invested in winning there, not invested in getting the next opportunity, which does happen. It's a part of this business.
Right.
I'm going to ask you a funny story at the end, but I'm sure Eli's got a couple more good ones for you, or one more good one for you. So I'm going to let him go first.
Yeah, I see photos of you with your son and being a father and what that's all like. And we always love to talk to coaches. A lot of them are our fathers, and just what is it like experiencing fatherhood while being a head coach and traveling, and what's that bond like, and how do you make this all work?
Yeah, well, my son is everything, and I really appreciate you asking about him, Eli. My son, everyone calls him Bam Bam, so that probably tells you everything you need to know about him. And he is as big a character as you will find. And something that gets me emotional every time I think about it and talk about it is the young men that I have in my program, the way that they embrace my son whenever he's around. I live in South Florida. Disney may be king all over the place, but it is certainly the king in Florida. I have not taken my son to Disney World yet, because when I bring him to the gym, it's like Disney World for him. And my players make him feel like he's the king of the world. My staff does. I mean, Bam Bam's, he's riding around practice in his bike. He's riding around practice on his hoverboard. He's dribbling around. He's chasing people, are shooting jump shots. He's He's not letting the shooter land. He's giving 4-point plays up there in practice. So, it's great to me to have him around. And what's awesome and why it's so important to me that we bring high quality young men into our program is because he instantly looks up to these guys and he wants to emulate them. And the players in my program are like sons to me. I love them with every fiber of my being. And, so for my son to get to be around them is great. Coach Rodriguez has 4 kids, three daughters and a son. They all look up to our players. Coach Bob has a son who is a basketball freak already at 2 years old, who looks up to all of our guys. He's got another one on the way. So, it's really important. And we want to have a family atmosphere. And, I think anyone that spends any time, a day with our program, that they feel that family bond that we have.
And one more before I toss it back to Brian. What would you say is the best part about coaching at FIU?
I'm gonna add one part to it too, Coach. The best part, and what's something that you will want people to know. I mean, you talked about it a lot on this interview. 17 of 18 seasons weren't even winning, so people don't even probably think FIU is even Division I half the time that don't really know. So, what would you want people to know? And then also Eli's question.
Yeah, well, first of all, I mean, FIU is in Miami, Florida, and if you haven't spent any time in Miami, all the great things they say about it are true and more. It is a phenomenal place to live. For me, these next 3 or 4 months are the best time to live there. It's, highs in the high 70s, lows in the high 60s, low 70s. It's sunshine every day. My first year, we played on December the 21st. It was a doubleheader with our women's team. We couldn't do a shoot around on the court because they were playing. We did our shoot around outside on an outdoor court on December the 21st. Yeah, so you literally can't beat the weather there. If you don't have a passport and you want to leave to go to another country, come to Miami. It's got every culture that there is. So it's truly a beautiful place. And FIU, Florida International, the university, is a university that's on the rise. I believe it's the 6th largest school in the country. So I know very few people know that. It's a beautiful campus. Our President Rosenberg, has done an unbelievable job of growing this place. And we've really tried to match the energy of the university and be aggressive and growing our culture, aggressive and growing our brand. And trying to be successful on the highest of levels. So it's an unbelievable place to live. It's an unbelievable place to work.
Yeah, well said. Well said. All right, we got to end with one funny story, Coach. It can be a father story. It can be in the program. It can be early in your career. It can be a haircut story. Whatever you got for us. Anything that's a funny story. We like to end with a lighter note and show a different side of the coach. So whatever you got for us.
Yeah, I mean that's a loaded question because
put you on the spot.
Yeah, let me tell you, because my entire program, we have, we really have tried to build the character up, but make no mistake about it, our entire program from coaching staff on down is full of characters, and we have a great time, with each other. We work hard. But we play hard as well. And we do a lot of great things together, fun things together. We do paintball, we go to Dave & Buster's, we play kickball, we do all those types of things. But, I guess along those lines, one thing that's, kind of funny that we've had to adjust some of those, some of those auxiliary things that we've done, because last year we did we kind of did a competition day. We did dodgeball and wiffle ball. Yeah. We did dodgeball. My starting big man last year, Damon Kerrigan, who's now at West Virginia and doing well, went to dodge a ball and catch a ball at the same time, slipped, pulled a groin muscle. I'm like, oh my goodness, had to stop the dodgeball game. So then we move on to wiffle ball. And it's the bottom of the ninth of wiffle ball, and it's the coaches versus the players. We get the game-winning hit. Everyone's going crazy. Bats on the ground. One of my guards slips on the wiffle ball bat and then sprains his ankle. So I said, man, no good deed goes unpunished.
Wow.
In the world of college basketball. So, we've been a little bit more careful in some of the things that we do to have fun with our team. But, if someone wanted to have an all access reality TV show with our program, they would be, constantly entertained because, we have great character, but we have a great group of characters as well. So, I appreciate you asking that.
Yeah, I love it, Coach. We appreciate you taking the time, Coach. Congrats tremendously on your success there. We know there's more to come. You got a game today, and you took time out. We appreciate that. So best of luck the rest of the way. We'll definitely stay in touch, and you're welcome here anytime. We don't always target head coaches on here. We try to give assistant coaches that love, kind of like you said, but we wanted to specifically make sure we got you on today, and we appreciate you taking the time, man. It means a lot.
Again, I couldn't be any more grateful to be here, that y'all thought of me to have me here. And what you do for the game, what you do for the coaches is truly remarkable. So, my salute to the Heat Check, my salute to you, Eli, salute to you, Brian. Just have an immense amount of respect for everything that you do. And I couldn't thank you enough for having me on.
Yeah, thank you, Coach. Means a lot. Keep going, man.
Okay, thank you all so much.
Appreciate it.
All right, as always, another great guest. Cool to be able to have a head coach. We don't have many head coaches on. We don't even ask many head coaches to come on, but I felt pretty compelled that was one we needed to have on as fast as we could. Anybody that listened to the interview, you can see why Coach is special at what he does. So I'll let Eli break it down, and then we'll close the show.
Yeah, it's fun having Coach Ballard on, and just the way that he has re-energized the FIU program after several challenging years, and they've had great coaches roll through, and not all these coaches have had the amount of success that he's had. And to lead the best start in program history, they gave Georgia all they could handle opening night of the season, and it's a team that's going to fly under the radar. As you said, I think those who don't know FIU, and the stat that Coach Ballard dropped us is one of the 10 largest universities in the country. I don't think many people would realize that either, but he's doing his thing. He's got a great staff. Growing up watching Joey Rodriguez at VCU, and now seeing that he's having success as an assistant, Jesse Bob. It's an excellent coaching staff. So I'm glad he gave and continues to give respect where it's due, because he makes it sound like it's a team and family mentality. It's not just him. It's a group of coaches and players and assistants who are all making this work. And it's a credit to him in adapting. If you just look at the stats of what FIU's done over the years, they play a variety of different styles to go in year one, play the fastest tempo in the country, to now slow things down, be more methodical, and use what they have in terms of talent and skill. It's not a lot of young coaches are able to adapt and make changes and lean on their assistants, but it's definitely a credit to what Coach Ballard has done and will continue to do with the Panthers.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, again, for being in the lines and now being on this side of the lines, it's rare that you find a coach with that kind of gratitude and inclusiveness to his entire staff. I think sometimes it's a great interview thing to say, and it's a great thing to throw out there, but I think it's pretty obvious that Coach lives it. If you follow his timeline, the program's timeline, or just even how he carries himself consistently, I think that's just who he is. And I give credit to him for that, because that's a rare thing in leadership, period, but especially a rare thing in college basketball. And then I just think, Coach is having fun, man. He's not taking himself too seriously, but he's about business, and I think that it rubs off on the players in a sense of, even for him to give a guy who left the program, which a lot of guys have hard times acknowledging, somebody who left the program is at maybe a Power 5 school and is having success. There's a lot of little things you can pick up from Coach's character of who he is and how he leads and what he's about. So we're hyped to have him on. I'm so excited that you said it best. Conference USA is wide open. I think they'll definitely compete at the top of the league as they're playing, because they're only going to gain more momentum. And then as the Conference USA shifts and some of these schools are going AAC, I think you look for FIU to be able to make maybe even another jump in what they're doing. So excited for Coach. So cool of him to come on and take time on a game day. Can't say enough about that. And yeah, just hopefully those that don't know much about the program, now you do, and you'll follow more and send Coach even more players. Not that he needs them now, but next year he'll need some more, and the next year. So keep sending them players too, so we can keep winning.